convention next year. Last Saturday, 1,600 elders met in Rosenberg to discuss this convention. And 2 branch representatives came down to share information with us. And to say that they're excited is an understatement. The brothers are very, very excited about these international conventions that we are going to be a part of. And they want us to be excited as well. They want us to do all we can to make this probably one of the best conventions that the delegates will ever attend. And that's the attitude that we're trying to relay through this information. Just a few specifications on the one that we're going to in Houston. The governing body is actually inviting 5,000 to 6,000 international delegates to these international conventions here in the United States branch. So that means for Houston, we're going to see at least 5,000 to 6,000 delegates there. And they're going to come from 24 countries under 13 branches. So it's brothers from all over the world. There are going to be 288 congregations attending this convention. And they're expecting 49,000 to 50,000 people at this convention. That's a lot of people, brothers. So we definitely want to see what we can do to actually help our brothers to make this something memorable for our delegates. So what does it mean for us? Well, it actually means that we have this wonderful opportunity to show Christian love and hospitality to these visiting delegates. We have a wonderful example, and they shared it with us over there, is that of Abraham. In fact, go to Hebrews chapter 13 and notice verse 2. Hebrews 13, verse 2. And notice what it says. It says, "Do not forget hospitality, for through it some unknowingly entertained angels." Now, this admonition here that Paul was sharing with the Hebrew brothers, he more than likely had in mind Abraham. Because Abraham had this wonderful privilege of entertaining or showing hospitality to Jehovah God's angels. He didn't know it at the time, but he did. In the account in Genesis chapter 18, verse 1 through 10, it talks about the account. And I'm going to kind of just set the stage here a little bit for you. If you kind of just in your mind's eye, you can just picture what we're talking about here. But Abraham, imagine him sitting in front of his tent in the middle of the hottest part of the day. The scripture said it was at the hottest part of the day. He's sitting there in front of his tent, probably under a little overhang, maybe drinking something cool, just relaxing. And he notices in the distance 3 strangers walking up. And next thing you know, you see Abraham jump up and start running to those strangers. Now, to kind of put things in perspective a little bit, at this point in his life, Abraham is about 99 years old. And he is running in the hot sun towards these people he doesn't even know. Now, as he runs up to them, he asks them, almost begging when you look at the scriptures, that, "Can I offer you a little hospitality?" Now, the custom back then was when a traveler was in a strange land, they had the right to expect hospitality, even if they did not know anyone in that area that they lived in. Another account I was reading saying that some of these travelers, when they came into town, they would actually sit down and wait for somebody to give them hospitality. But Abraham, he didn't wait for them to exercise that right. He got up and started running to them. Okay, so that's how much he wanted to show them his hospitality. And when he came back, you figure that hospitality would be maybe he could give them a little bread, maybe allow them, to sit down and rest, something cool to drink, maybe even wash their feet, and then maybe send them on their way. That would be very hospitable. But Abraham did much, much more than that, friends. The account tells us that he runs to his wife and tells her very quickly to start making bread. Forget about if they have bread there, just start making bread. And while she's doing that, he goes to his servant and tells the servant, "We're going to take a ram and a fine young bull, and we're going to process them for these strangers." Now, that's a lot of work, friends, to make, just simply making the bread. The poor sister had to go and start the fire. She couldn't bust open a can of biscuits and throw it in the oven. She had to start that fire, get that water together with flour and yeast, and knead the dough, allow for it to rise, and then bake this bread. And at the other side, Abraham, at 99 years old, he's over here slaughtering rams, slaughtering young bulls. And again, a young bull is not something that was just presented for any occasion. It was very special occasions what young bulls were reserved for. But it kind of gives us an idea of the hospitality. Because that's a lot of work. Some of us have a hard time just making a roast on Sunday, or maybe a turkey. But he's preparing a young bull and a ram. So they went beyond what they had to do. And of course, later they come to find out that these three strangers were actually Jehovah God's angels. And they left them with a wonderful gift, that of their son Isaac was going to be born to them later that year. And all this helps us to appreciate the kind of hospitality that the brothers would like to see from all of us. This account helps us to see that this hospitality is not simply a matter of custom or upbringing. It's not just the kind of hospitality like, oh, I'm next on the list, I'm going to show hospitality to the brother coming up. We do it, we enjoy doing it, but we're talking about doing a lot more than that, friends. Because this kind of hospitality brings godly blessings to all of us. And we're going to come to appreciate that here in a little bit. So how can we as families and as a congregation prepare to show love and hospitality to the visiting delegates? Well, the branch has prepared a video for us. It's entitled Practice Giving. Let's take a look at that.
My family and I, we love conventions. So when we got the letter last week that announced we would be hosting an international in our city, well, we all were really excited. On our way home that night, the kids were buzzing about what countries might be invited and whether the friends would come in their native dress. And it got me thinking, we have to do more than just go to the convention. We need to give something. Maybe a lot more than what we're used to. So I thought we could make the International Convention our family project.
That was awesome.
Yeah, is that what an international convention is really like?
It's unforgettable. I remember 1978 like it was yesterday.
That's a long time ago, Grandma.
Yes, but I'll never forget it. There were over 70,000 people there.
That was an amazing convention.
Yes.
I remember two things about that convention. I remember going home with my favorite book, and I remember volunteering and serving food with you, Mom.
Wait, they had food at the convention back then?
Yes, and your father and I always volunteered to serve.
Really? I wish they had food at our convention. I would love to volunteer for that.
Kevin, I'm glad to hear you say that. What I really wanted to talk about with everybody this evening is with the International Convention coming to our city, there's going to be so much work to do, and I thought that together as a family, we could volunteer to help with the convention.
I feel like we're always working at the convention.
That's true, we are. But what's different this year is we can start together now to work in preparing for the convention.
What can we do?
Well, I'll tell you what, before we talk about what we can do, let's talk about why we should do it. There's a scripture. Let's turn to Luke chapter 6. We're interested in Luke 6. It is verse 38. Caitlin, can you read just the first line of that for me, please?
Sure, Dad. It says, practice giving, and people will give to you.
Okay, thank you, sweetie. Now, before we apply that, I want everybody to take a second and think about what your favorite part of the convention is.
Ooh, the movies.
Seeing friends that I haven't seen in a long time.
I'd really like the talks and videos that are on family.
Me too. And those are always encouraging, upbuilding, and those were all good answers, very spiritually minded. But did you notice how we all immediately went to what we get from the convention and not what we can give to the convention? Now, think about the scripture that Caitlin read, and how can we apply that when we think about volunteering for the International?
I guess we gotta give more.
We really need to practice giving. It should be our custom in everything, even conventions.
That's a great application.
I feel we do pretty well as a family with our congregation cleaning assignment.
We do, Caitlin, we do, but can we do more? Remember, there's going to be 5,000 guests at this convention. It's going to be the largest gathering that we've ever attended together.
Mm-hmm. We're definitely going to have more opportunities to give. I like that point in the scripture that Caitlin read. There at the end of verse 38, it says, "For with the measure that you are measuring out, they will measure out to you in return."
Yes, we always get what we give, and I want to give more.
Yeah, that's how I've been feeling lately. And let me ask you, when we watch the broadcast and we see international conventions, what are some of the things we see the volunteers doing?
They greet the delegates at the airport.
And at the hotel, and the convention.
Okay, very good.
I also see a lot of food in those videos.
Yeah, the delegates need food at the convention, kind of like you and Grandma used to do.
And that we need to remember there needs to be hospitality before the convention as well as after the convention.
Absolutely.
And we can help get the stadium ready for convention. The last time we went to a game there, it was a mess.
I remember that. It was filthy.
I tell you what, move-in day is going to be amazing.
But that's just the beginning. I think there's over a dozen departments, and they're all going to need volunteer help throughout the program.
So many ways to volunteer and to give to others.
Wouldn't it be nice to give more, to get really involved?
I'm ready.
Me too.
You know, I've been thinking, and bear with me, but I think I want to use my vacation days this year to volunteer at the convention.
Oh, can we use the international convention as our family vacation this year?
You know, your father and I have been talking about that.
And praying about it.
I think we're getting our answer.
I do too. I am so proud of all of you and your willingness to work at this convention. It's going to be really special. Kevin, why don't you go ahead and cue up the next video?
Sure, Dad. It's called Showing Hospitality at International Conventions.
Well, that's going to give us more to think about, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just going to add this up to the list.
Okay.
So it goes without saying, friends, that there's going to need to be a lot of volunteers for this convention, especially when we're dealing with almost 50,000 people. And thousands of volunteers are going to be needed to care for these delegates. And as that sister mentioned, before as well as after the convention, but then during the convention too, a lot of volunteers are needed to make sure that convention goes well. The brothers over there were kind of throwing some numbers at us that they're looking at probably 1,600 just in the attendance for that convention, and 500 brothers just for parking. So that's already over 2,000 people or volunteers, and that's only 2 departments. There's a lot more departments in these conventions, and of course, a lot more people are needed when you have a lot more people in the building. There's also be hundreds of accommodations in private homes. Those will be needed as well. But of course, those will probably come from our brothers that are closer in the Houston area to house these special full-time servants and long-time leases of other lands. They were saying about 500 to 550 homes they're going to look at to house these delegates. And just to kind of put that in perspective, I was saying, gosh, that's almost a small town of homes. I was looking at the census for last year in Skidmore. Last year, Skidmore had 332 occupied homes. So if we had to put our delegates there, we'd still need another 168 places for them to stay. And that's only, we're going to hit the 500 mark. We're going to hit the 550. There's actually more. So it kind of gives you a sense of what the brothers are helping us to appreciate in regards to the help that's going to be needed and our ability to do all we can. Every baptized publisher in good standing is invited to complete an application online at not even JW.org, I'm used to saying that, it's jw2019.org as soon as possible. In fact, let's take a look at a video that talks about this application process.
If your heart compels you to volunteer, how can you make yourself available? The online application is easy to complete. Just log into the website using one of these providers. Choose Continue as a local publisher. Select your city and congregation. Your personal information is important. Make sure that it's complete and accurate. Remember to keep it up to date. We'd hate to miss you. Be sure to use an email address that you check frequently. Gmail and Microsoft accounts usually work best. Next, fill in your date of birth and baptism date. And oh, don't forget to tell us if you're a brother or sister. Let us know of any service privileges you currently have. Tell us about your skills, and don't be bashful. We need to know if you have talent. And if possible, upload a sample of your musical or singing ability. Do you have any medical training? Experience as a bus captain? As a tour guide? In hotel information? Tell us what you do for work or have experience with. Use keywords that will allow us to search through the database. Brothers and sisters will be visiting us from many countries, so if you read, write, or speak any language in addition to English, let us know. What if you don't know your schedule yet for next year? No problem. We don't want to miss anyone, so fill out an application with what you know now, and you can update it later. We'd love to hear your ideas. Please don't hold back. Feel free to upload a picture. The comment section is very important. What should you include? Names and ages of your unbaptized children. Any special circumstances. Special or international convention experience. Regional convention assignments you have had in the last 5 years. Have you served as an attendant? Did you work in cleaning, information, rooming, media, contribution boxes, first aid, sage, cameraman, parking, trucking, inventory, admission, lost and found baptism? We want to know everything you helped out in. Well, you may not need to know that last one. So if your heart impels you to give, don't hesitate. Fill out your volunteer application on jw2019.org right away, and may Jehovah richly bless the spirit you show.
Easy, right? So, just a few notes on this. Only publishers that complete an online application can be given assignment. So even if we've done assignments before, all of us are going to have to fill this out, because everything now, even from our last convention, everything runs through service committees to be approved as, you know, the brothers are able to work, they're exemplary, or these kind of statuses. So even us as elders and ministerial servants, we're going to have to do the same thing as well. So it's very important to do that. All the elders in the congregation have access to the instructions. There's actually an 8-page instructions that y'all can use to help do that. They're posted on the information board. And for convenience, for those who use that app that we use in the congregation, it's there. There's a little icon there that says volunteer instructions. It has a little character volunteering saying, pick me. When it comes to minors, exemplary baptized minors under the age of 16 are invited to submit their own application with their parents' approval and will be assigned to work along with their baptized parents. The name of their parents should be noted in the comment section. Exemplary unbaptized children can work along with their parents without submitting an application. Parents should include their children's names in the comment section of their application. And they said that comment section is very important. That's where you'll be able to tell them anything and everything that you weren't able to relay throughout the rest of the application. Put it in there. That's where they want to see, and they're going to be looking at those boxes. And Jehovah's going to accomplish this with all of our hands, brothers. In fact, take a look at Exodus chapter 35, and notice verse 10. Exodus 35:10, it says, "Let all who are skilled among you come and make everything that Jehovah has commanded." Jehovah has asked us to help him with this convention. We want to do what we can, friends. We want to do whatever we can. And some of us may think, well, I don't know what I can do. The brothers gave examples. They say maybe your barbecue is legendary. Maybe you make a mean jug of lemonade, is how they put it. But basically, whatever you can do, put it on an application, because you don't know what they'll be able to use you for. But they don't know if you don't put anything on there. You know what I mean? But if you put anything and everything, they're able to pick and choose what they need for what they want to accomplish. And they want to know everything in detail. So apparently there's enough room to type as much as you want in those blanks that look small. They probably hold a lot of information. So you want to make sure you put in detail everything that you possibly can do. Maybe you might say, well, you know, my health is kind of bad. My age just doesn't allow me to do as much as I want to do. I'm not strong enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm too short. Whatever the case may be, Jehovah God knows our limitations, doesn't he? In fact, take a look at 2 Corinthians chapter 12. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, and look at the end of verse 9. It says, in order that the power of the Christ may remain over me like a tent. Basically, friends, and the brother shared this with us there, Jehovah knows our limits, but he's actually telling us to do what we can, and he will cover us. He will cover the rest. Like it's talking about a tent. He will cover us. Whatever we can't do, he'll make sure that either we can do it or that it gets taken care of. So he did it for Abraham. We saw the example of Abraham at 99 years of age. His wife was very elderly as well too, but yet they were able to accomplish this task of showing hospitality. So Jehovah will allow us to do that as well too. And if we listen to Jehovah and make that effort, notice what Deuteronomy 28:2 helps us to appreciate as a result of showing hospitality. Take a look at Deuteronomy 28. And notice verse 2. And it says, all these blessings will come upon you and overtake you, because you keep listening to the voice of Jehovah your God. So, like Abraham, friends, we too can receive beautiful blessings from showing hospitality to our visiting brothers and delegates at this upcoming assembly. Let's take a look at one more video. It's entitled Volunteer Spirit. It really helps us to appreciate how these brothers from past assemblies, how much they enjoyed themselves by sharing a little bit of themselves.
An international convention is so much larger than a regional convention, and the need for volunteers just as enormous.
The numbers tell you why you need to be involved. You've got 60,000 people coming to a stadium. Their needs are going to be great. There's going to be plenty of work, plenty of activity, and everybody has to feel a sense of, I need to help. I need to do my part.
We didn't know whether we would have enough even for one cast, for one evening program, and we had 14 to put on, and 4 casts we need to get, each cast over 100.
We need thousands of volunteers to help out with the hospitality for the international delegates, but we also need thousands of volunteers to help out with the different departments during the days of the convention.
There's the feeding of the delegates, there's the field service arrangements, there's transportation, greeting them at the airport.
They would be in the hotel lobby, then I would see them again doing tours.
My mom and sister were also helping us at the hotels, but in between, they were helping in the ministry.
The Friends responded admirably. It was amazing. The first day we had 500. We hit that quota. So it was great to see the entire parking lot full with smiling faces and signs and people screaming and yelling for the delegates. It was a wonderful sight.
The Friends are excited, they're willing to volunteer, they're donating their time, their resources.
Why did I want to be part of it? Well, the question to me should be, why not be part of it? I mean, it's exciting, it's for Jehovah, his people.
Served as a tour guide, and it was an amazing experience.
It's exciting, because I've never been to an international convention, so this is an opportunity that I never had before, so it's thrilling.
All age ranges, young ones, older sisters, older brothers who just wanted to do something. And they would come in, they would man a post, they would sit in a chair just to hold a sign.
There's a place for all of us. If all we have is a hug, a smile, we can all participate in some way.
I came here today to welcome my brothers and sisters from Russia, from just all different parts of the world. Volunteering to be a greeter has really strengthened my faith.
I don't know them, but I know I love them. They're my brothers. And I tell you what, when I went to their countries as a kid, they showed me the same love. So I'm happy to give it back to them.
We're doing this for our brothers and sisters, but I think we're getting way more out of it. It's completely Jehovah's hand, and it's amazing to see that on a local level.
I volunteer to serve the delegates. I am serving as one of the 800 volunteers. I'm serving as a waitress. I really wanted the opportunity to come and sing for people that came from Portugal and Spain to make them happy.
I also had the unique privilege of hosting 4 delegates from Chile in my home.
Today we were cleaning the chairs, sweeping the chairs, scraping gum off of the chairs and the floor. Really, really hard. But it's just so rewarding. It makes me feel good, especially to see my son, to see him so excited to come and help.
Well, the ministry at the International Convention was really a breathtaking event.
Plus, friends from Portugal or Brazil came, and we were able to entertain them, take them out in service, have a meal, and it just made a beautiful bond in the congregation.
We worked with one sister who was from Russia. She wanted to preach to everyone she met. She told us how difficult it was to preach in Russia where she was from. So I was so moved by her zeal.
To be here and to see the delegates from foreign countries that can't even speak their language, still experiencing that interchange of encouragement and really being strengthened by that association has done wonders for them. They said it's been a life-changing experience.
We always say, oh, I love my brothers all over the world, but to finally get that experience, that chance to demonstrate our love for them was something life-changing, something that I'm never going to forget.
It's a great privilege to be a part of the International Convention, so I really don't mind putting my time into it because it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. If you can make the time, make the time. You will never regret the time you spent welcoming your brothers and sisters in this unique way.
So do you get a sense of the spirit that the branch wants us to have for this convention, the attitude that we should be having towards this? But how important is hospitality to the branch in these international conventions? Well, think about it. They have what we're normally used to, which is the convention committees, which handle everything that have to do with the convention. You figure they could put another department in there for hospitality, but they didn't. They actually created a whole committee for hospitality. And that way they can focus completely on that. That way the delegates can get a sense of true, pure hospitality from start to finish. And we met, they introduced us to the brothers that, I think there's like 5, maybe 6 brothers on that committee.
Yeah, there's 3 brothers that's on the convention committee and then 3 brothers for the hospitality committee.
Yes. So that's how important hospitality is to the branch, that they have their own committee to focus solely on that. They also mentioned to us that some of our brothers and sisters saved for years, maybe even their whole lives, to attend the convention. And they also said some congregations, the publishers come together and start saving money to send one family in their congregation to the center. So they want it to be something special. And as delegates coming to another country to meet their brothers, they're going to expect hospitality, aren't they? Because we love our brothers. But what we want to do is be like Abraham. We want to go beyond what they're expecting. We want this to be something that they're never going to forget, and something that we will never forget as well, too. So no matter what, friends, we have an opportunity to be part of a theocratic history, telling future generations about our share in the 2019 International Conventions. So we encourage everyone not to miss the blessing that's actually going to create lifelong memories with your family, with your congregation, and your large international brotherhood. So friends, take this matter to prayer to Jehovah, definitely. Discuss it in your family worships. And then tell Jehovah, how can I help? By submitting your application.